Mantas from Venom Inc.
This is Abaddon from Venom Inc.
And you are listening to the Phantasm Podcast. Keep it heavy, my friends.
Dr. Vincent West here on the Phantasm Podcast. We have the honor of speaking with...
Dubious honor.
Dubious honor of speaking with the badasses in Venom Inc. We got all the cats in here. We have Abaddon, Mantas, and of course Demolition. Alright. It's good to have you guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much for having us. It's nice to be had.
Thank you very much.
We don't get had very often, but it's nice to be had. There's times we thought we had been had, and we probably have been had, but this is a nice way to be had in Atlanta.
Guess we'll ask first, how's the tour been? We're at the ass end of the tour now, so...
Fucking insane. It's been absolutely insane. We've had a good few sold out shows. The shows that haven't been sold out have been near capacity.
To sell them out ourselves.
Yeah, we sold them out ourselves.
Awesome.
They've been nearly capacity anyway, but every show has been fucking raging.
Awesome.
It's been absolutely incredible. To pick a favourite, don't ask us. It's
Ask him.
What's your favorite?
I've got
Atlanta was great. Oh, we haven't done it yet.
No.
Will be
great. Yeah.
For me, I've got a sort of thing about LA.
LA.
The LA
Sure.
show, the LA show was
Yeah,
great.
but we've given cream for that. So now that it's going down.
The LAs have gone now.
He couldn't walk for 2 days.
Did you know
every show?
the LA show? So you guys probably saw a lot of old friends, and
Yeah, that was a sold
Some of
out
them
show.
was that the
Some of
biggest
them
one you
went
think?
down
Was that where you
over
saw probably the most people that you from the past? Maybe
No, I wouldn't say
Everywhere.
So. No, it's just everywhere.
everywhere.
I think the thing with social media is, you make friends kind of that way, and then you get to meet them, and you get to bother about like their families and this kind of thing.
Right.
Then you meet them second time round, and then you talk about holidays and what the kids are doing and work and
Right.
stuff. And people become real friends, and they're like. It's sort of people talk about like having Facebook friends and all this kind of shit, but we're in the position where you get to actually go there and meet them, and again and again. Right. So they become proper friends, and people bring us food.
Yeah, tonight someone knocked on the door and just home cooked some food for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
She said, "I know you've been eating shit, cheese, and fucking processed crap, so here's some proper food,
Right.
And
Awesome.
Houston, one of the young girls came and had a whole tray of enchiladas she baked for us. And,
Oh, that's awesome.
people bring in,
People invite you to their homes for showers because they know the shower on the bus doesn't work all the time.
Right.
Do laundry and all this kind of shit. It's very fucking cool.
They bring bottles of Jack. We do VIPs and they bring us gifts. The whole idea is for them to get
That's good, yeah.
And they bring us gifts.
That's awesome.
I
That's
think for
really
the
cool.
first week, Tony got a bottle of Jack Daniels every day brought to us. Like, I bought you one of these, So, I mean, that's that real sense of community and being,
Right.
Of course, famous people turn up all over the place to come and say hi. And
Well, that's what I meant, like kind of old friends from the music
Yeah.
industry. You get to see a lot of those people. Maybe you don't get to see all the time.
Even on the last tour, James Hetfield came out because it was
That's awesome.
I spotted
shits in the left.
Well, I'll
We
get.
told them to
They
fuck
don't
off.
forget their voice. They know where
Fuck off.
they. They always listen to you guys.
No. I spotted him up on the balcony. He headbanged and fucking played air guitar and fucking sang all the way through the fucking show.
That's
I was just
awesome.
looking up going, that's fucking James Hetfield,
Yeah.
And we're in the dressing room, and I was just packing my stuff away, and all I heard was, "Hey, Jeff!" And I turned around, it was fucking James. It was great.
That's awesome.
Great.
Well, we had Jelly Biafra came out and Max came out. That's from Sepultura and well, 47 or so fly. But the boys from Masca are coming, a big tree come down to see us from in Florida, and so everywhere we go round there, coming out to see us and say hi, and which is great. Canton. I mean, once you're in LA, there was just buzzing with all sorts, going on. So it's great. It's great, but it's part of that community,
Right. Right.
The rock community across the planet, which seems huge, actually isn't, you know, from the fans, and that we're quite all connected and tight-knit. So, you know, that's wonderful to see, especially across America.
Right.
It's amazing for us, you know.
It's quite funny speaking to somebody from one of the fans from San Francisco, and they said, oh, it's fucking great having James come out to see us, you know, and he said, that's no big deal, we'll see him in fucking Walmart or something all the time. I haven't seen you for 30 fucking years. Oh, okay, that kind of puts it in some sort of strange perspective. Right. Yeah, okay, I get it.
If you guys don't care, I wanted to let's go all the way back. Let's talk about the beginning of Venom. If that's cool.
Very cool.
I would love to hear about that. I know our listeners would love to hear about that.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear about it?
How did Venom come about? How did you guys meet?
Way back. It was 1976.
Dennis wasn't moved out.
Yes. Yeah,
Left room for us.
The meteor hit the earth. There's nothing left.
But I was training at a taekwondo club, and it was all new people. Nobody had ever met each other, and there was a guy training there, and I think he was 2-3 years older than me or something at the time. But we just became friends, and then he had a love of music, I had a love of music, he had a guitar, I had a guitar. So we sort of got together and just sort of jammed at each other's houses and things, and that actually was the start of it all. And then we were looking for drummers, we went through a lot of different lineups, and then I had put an advert out somewhere, it was in Rock City, and went down, and it was a Saturday afternoon, met Abaddon, and I actually had another drummer to meet after Abaddon. But we seemed to get on, and we sort of scooted out of the shop before this other guy turned up. We didn't know who the hell he was, so he was reading his interview.
Guitars, so we thought he's
And that was sort of the beginning of it, and then we had a meeting in the Percy Arms pub, and Tony brought along Clive Archer and Eric Cook, who Eric became our manager much later on. Clive Archer became the singer. So there was...
I had been in a band with those guys. Eric was playing guitar and Clive was singing. And when I met Jeff, I said, what are you doing for vocals and this kind of thing? He said, well, you know, it's an open kind of book, you know, I said, well, I've got this guy, and he's kind of... he's into like Alice Cooper, he loves Judas Priest, and he loves this kind of makeup thing, the death thing. He was very gaunt looking, very skinny guy.
Right.
And this was before bands were doing corpse paint. Of course, Gene Simmons was doing the thing.
Right.
Alice Cooper was doing the thing, but even King Diamond wasn't at that point. And Clive was wearing all his makeup, and he wanted to have props on stage and shackles and fucking coffin to come out of and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of that really appealed to the pair of us, I think. And it's good when everybody's kind of the same accord, you know, when everybody's got the same kind of ideas and the drive. When we used to rehearse, we're told about this, we used to rehearse with drum risers and fucking smoke bombs, and we used to put fucking armbands on and shit like this. And when we used to rehearse on a Saturday afternoon, we used to rehearse up in a church hall, and we'd be just setting the gear up and then sort of chugging away, you know, and then we turn around and there'd be people sitting on the floor, and we're like, we're attracting a fucking crowd, it's not a gig. Fuck off. You know? And we've always been like that. We've always been, right from the very beginning. The band wasn't called Venom. We didn't have a band name. We weren't that bothered, I don't think, about having a moniker, about having a logo or anything. Then a couple of guys who came along, one of them was they got into as you did then, you know, you got a job as you're 16, 17, you got a job, so you bought a motorbike, got a car. These guys bought motorbikes. They weren't bikers, but you know, they hung out and they would come and see us rehearsing. And then one day, I think we were in the school hall or something, wasn't it? One of the guys said, why don't we call ourselves Venom? It's good as anything. But there was two other bands called Venom at the time. I think
There's one down in Manchester, and I remember there was this big thing when we sort of kicked off. Kerrang! Magazine, I think it was, did this article, and they said, you know, we wanted sort of both bands to justify why they should be called Venom. So this band went into this long diatribe about, like, well, we've been called Venom since this date and this date, and blah 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 blah. We've had this image and blah 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 blah. And we went, change your fucking names or we're coming to Manchester and kick your fucking heads in. So they changed their name to Silverwing.
1 week later.
What was it?
So wasn't there another punk band or something, or an oi band or something? I'm pretty sure there was 3 in one
There
place.
was something like that.
Yeah, there was something like a skinhead band or something. They kind of vanished off the face.
Wow.
But the guy who Jeff's talking about, Jeff Barton, was in a magazine called Sounds. He was writing a magazine called Sounds, and that turned into Kerrang, and Kerrang became that kind of Bible. So it was all at the same time.
Right.
So
Wow.
where he was kind of championing us and Saxon and Iron Maiden and all these bands are kind of getting to the forefront. We were kind of dragged through that because Jeff had been really behind us, you know.
The Kerrang was a free supplement that was put into Sounds on 1 week, and we were in the first issue, as in the new section, like the up and coming bands type of thing. And it was, we sent a demo cassette to Jeff Barton, and fucking it was in his playlists for fucking weeks, you know.
Got reviewed, didn't it?
It got reviewed, you know.
I was working in a factory. I was only fucking whatever years old. I was working in a factory as an apprentice. So I'm sitting there fucking, first thing in the morning, it's pissing down. It's fucking Northern England. Everything stinks of shit. And you open this magazine, there's this fucking review, and I was like, fucking hell, look at that!
That's awesome.
I was like, fucking hell, somebody gives a shit. Fucking amazing, you know.
But I mean, the way Kronos came into the band was my girlfriend, her best friend. My parents used to go out, I think it was a Tuesday night or something, they used to go out down the local pub or something like that. So all the metal kids would go around and sneak into her house and would just sit there and blast metal music. And this one particular night, I walked in and she had a new boyfriend, so she introduced me to this guy. She says, oh, this is Conrad, my new boyfriend. And at that point, Dave Rutherford, the guitarist that I first started with, he was on the verge of leaving. You know, he wasn't sort of happy with what we were doing. And so I said to this guy, I says, we're in a band. We just started talking, and he says, I'll play guitar. And I was like, oh, right, okay. So, we were looking for a new rhythm guitarist at that point because we were 5-piece. And then he said, I'm doing a youth opportunity scheme at Impulse Studios. Now, me and Dave had already been in Impulse Studios inquiring about demos, but we walked away with our tail between our legs because we just couldn't afford it, you know. So that was another thing that made my ears stand up, and I thought, I might get some free studio time here.
Yeah.
So he came along to a rehearsal. First thing Abaddon said from the drum riser was, fucking hell, who's she?
Get fucking makeup on. Had his fucking hair would look like a chick. We were scruffy as fuck. We had long hair, but we were scruffy.
Right.
Had this fucking nice fucking short leather jacket on, fucking jeans rolled up, and a pair of fucking high heel boots on. I was like, who the fuck's she? There's him fucking playing up, and he's like, fucking, she's alright. I was like, I think that's a fucking dude.
But, I mean, he came in as a rhythm guitarist, then the bass player quit, so he took over bass, because we were just basically too lazy to look for somebody else, so just by default, he took over bass. And then I remember we'd been rehearsing, and we went in to do the first demos. We've got some downtime in the studio, and I had written Live Like an Angel, Die Like a Devil, and asked Kronos to sing that song. I said, can you sing? And he was like, well, I'll give it a shot. So he was going to sing that song, and the plan was that live, Clive would go off stage to do the costume change, and he was going to come back on with the track Schizo, so he'd come on in a white coat with a bag with all the medical implements in, the cereal and that stuff. So Conrad would take over the vocals at that point, sing that one song, and then we'll be back to being a 5-piece again, or a 4-piece, as we were at that point. And Clive got a little bit disillusioned as well. So again, by default, we'd already done that one demo song with him. So he took over vocals, and that was it. That was the way it happened.
But the band had been called Venom before he came to any rehearsals.
It was called Venom before he did anything with us. And I've got an old cassette tape, which is a rehearsal tape from that very same church hall, where I took my father's cassette recorder, pressed play and record in the centre of the hall, and we just recorded the stuff. And on that tape from probably the back end of 1979. We're playing Angel Dust, Red Light Fever, Buried Alive, and Raise the Dead. Now, Buried Alive and Raise the Dead didn't appear until black metal.
Right.
So the bulk of Welcome to Hell was written before he joined.
And the logo that's photographed.
The logo
on the front of the drum riser at a rehearsal before Chorus ever turned up.
Right.
Yeah.
So that predated any of that sort of thinking, you know.
So I mean that's the basic history of it, you know. You know, he's proclaiming, you know, he fucking created the universe, invented shoes and breathing and everything else, you know. But the fact is, you know, the absolute historical fact is, he was the last person to join at my invitation.
He did invent a dude looking like a chick roll.
Yeah, he did that.
He invented that.
Yeah.
You invent the skullet thing too.
Totally invented that. Yeah. That's all it is.
But that's the way it came about, you know. It's as simple as that, you know. It was just a process of, you know, people leaving, him taking over this, taking over that, and that was it.
Right.
You know. But I can understand that people look at what is perceived to be the front man of a band, who's usually the vocalist, and maybe rightly or wrongly they think, you know, that, you know, they're responsible for everything, you know, they're the band leader or whatever it is, like, you know. But I was just beavering away in the background writing all the fucking songs. It was as simple as that, you know. And Abaddon drew the original logo, hand drawn on a piece of paper, came in with this thing and went, what about this? And it was like, you know, there was no discussion about it. It was like, yeah, that's cool.
Oh, the original logo?
The original logo, yeah. And then he turned up one day, and was he an auntie or something that stitched the pentagram?
Because the backdrops, the riser started getting bigger. So we had this backdrop, and it never got used as a backdrop. It got used on the front of the drum riser, and she'd stitched. I'd drawn the pentagram for Welcome to Hell, or for the single first in League. And she just hand stitched this thing, you know. There was no sort of screen print or anything.
No.
And I just showed her this piece of artwork that I'd done. She said, okay, and then come back out with this huge thing. We were like, oh, that's fucking cool, big backdrop. Like I said, just wound up, the drum riser got bigger, so it just wound up being on the front of the drum riser.
It's iconic. I think, and I want our fans to know this. This was so important. This is why I wanted you to be part of this interview. And you're the man. We got to get to you too. We're going to get there. But I wanted to tell the two of you, as a fan, if people don't realize, I love Venom. I love Venom Inc. But I love the two of you. The two of you created. You guys created more stuff with those records than you're given even a quarter of the credit for. And the black metal scene wouldn't exist. We're big death metal guys. The 80s, 90s death metal scene wouldn't exist.
Sure.
It's a huge.
I think these things that, you know, people do throw that around us, and we're very, you know, proud of that. But I think those scenes would have happened had we not done it. But just slower, would have taken more time, and it wouldn't have been the explosion that it was. It was the fact that everything exploded, and like all these big American labels that had these super rock star bands, you know, Aerosmith and the Stones and all this kind of thing. All of a sudden you've got these little skinny punks coming out of the fucking West Coast and the East Coast and Germany and fucking Scandinavia, and I say, what the fuck? They had to sit up and take notice.
Right.
So out of that, you're going to get your Slayers and your Metallicas and your fucking Death, and all these bands are going to fucking come to the forefront, you know. Right. The fact that we were maybe a little bit at the front of that, and we were kind of heavier than Motorhead, heavier than Saxon and Iron Maiden and this kind of thing.
Sure.
Was what kind of threw us to the forefront of that, and that's what gives the longevity to something, because we were ridiculed quite a lot at the start. We were ridiculed as much as we were sort of put on a pedestal. Right. It was pretty even.
Right.
Not the whole...
By the industry.
Yeah, by the industry. The whole world didn't just go, fucking hell, Venom's amazing. a lot of people just went, what the fuck are they doing? Like, shut up and shit. Yeah. Shut those fucking drums up, you know.
Well, I did an interview. I live in Portugal now, and when we were doing the interviews for RV, I got an email from the press person to say that, we've got another interview for you. It's going to be a telephone interview. Are you available? And I was like, yeah. And it was with Alan Robson. Now, Alan Robson was the Newcastle DJ who totally slated us. He was totally against us. You know, he just fucking he was into his AOR rock. I mean, he was, you know, he had this late night show called the Hot and Heavy Express, and fucking thousands of followers. You know, everybody used to tune in. You know, used to go to the Mayfair, the local rock club, and then, you know, back home and listen to the Hot and Heavy Express. So I I says, yeah, I'll do the interview, and I hadn't seen Alan for, God knows how many years.
Right.
During the course of that interview, he said, I'm going to say something, and he says, this is going to go on radio. He says, it's going to go on my radio show. And he says, what I want to say to you and to the audience listening, I was wrong. He says, I didn't understand what Venom was about. He says, but what you guys have done is incredible. He says, and I was wrong.
Wow.
And fully take that on board now. Like, he says, I was absolutely wrong.
Had to blow your mind here.
I was on the end of the phone going.
There was a thing that again Eric Cook set up, which was because Alan had fucking just hated us and just left us off the whole northeast scene. Every other band, he would bring them in, he'd interview them, he'd play their records, and all these Raven and Fist and Tigers of Mantas. And what Eric said was, Eric rang him up and he said, look, I know you hate Venom, all right. However, we need press, we need to be on the radio show. Right. How about if we do an anti-interview where you sit and you tell the band exactly what you think of them, how shit they think you are. The band are going to tell you how shit your record, your radio show is, how you're a little ginger wanker, and all this kind of shit. And what we'll do is you can bleep it out, and what we'll do is we'll finish with a fight, like a we start. What we did was we ride all the microphones about,
Right.
and we just made the right noise and like kicked the table over, but it was set up. It was all set up. So we put it on the back end of a cassette single, and people loved it. People were like, you guys are fucking nuts. You just went in there and kicked the shit out of the guy.
It made the local newspapers, everything. My mother wouldn't go out of the house for about a month.
Yeah.
Because all the neighbours were going.
But don't forget, this is a guy who's very, very, very popular.
Right.
And he's late night popular. So me and Eric Cook, we're going away to America and we're doing something, and we come back, we fly back, and we're fucking shattered. So we get in, we go back to London, we have to get a fucking train or a bus up in Newcastle. So we finally rag all the bags off, 2 days of travelling or something. We get in this taxi. We've only got to go 5 miles home, so we're in the middle, but it's like 2 in the morning,
right.
3 in the morning. So the taxi drivers all listen to Al Robson because he's on at that time. So this taxi driver's a nice guy, and he's like, so what do you guys do? So just in America, he says, just fucking long haul, yeah. Okay, so what do you do? So we play in a band, I manage the band. He says, this is the drummer. So that's fucking interesting. He says, what band's that? He says, Venom. Out. Fuck off, get out. Oh God. Threw us out of the fucking taxi. He says, you cunts fucking kick the shit out of Alan Robson so you can fuck off, get out of my car. Just threw us out of the fucking car.
But see, that's amazing. That's why, I mean, I was drawn to it. I was scared to death of black metal when I first looked at that record, or Welcome to Hell, or because my uncle had them.
Yeah.
And he turned me on, and I was just like, these are scary, but I love this. And I just, that's the appeal of it. There was no bullshit. You guys were, I mean,
it was black or white, it was love it or hate it, and I think that's part of where we've got the longevity from, is the fact that people now understand that it's part of history.
Yeah.
And I call it because we're in the band, but it isn't it. It's a thing of its own. The band, whoever's been in it, whatever's happened with it, and that's what gives it its sort of place in history. And that's why if we come out here and we play these sort of places, a lot of people are very knowledgeable. They come out and they know about the background of these things. It's not like other forms of music. I don't want to be too disparaging of other forms of music, but other forms of music comes and goes in your life.
Yeah.
This doesn't. This stays with you, and you pass it on, and people, like you say, like your uncle and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we see, we've got kids coming up with the fucking gigs, and we thought, we're going to be playing the 40-year-olds. Nothing against that 40, 50-year-old. That's who we first put the stuff out with. There's fucking a lot of young kids coming, and and they've got the old albums, and they bought the new album, and they're carrying it on. But they're very knowledgeable. And they get it. They get what happened with Slayer. They get that Metallica used to open for Venom and all this kind of shit. They get it all. They get the whole thing.
I mean, it's just
it's a life. It's a full life fucking choice.
Right. It's really the attitude you guys brought to the table with the music that wasn't really.
Without trying to.
Yeah.
It wasn't
pure.
It wasn't that we sat down and said. We didn't even sit down really and say, let's pick these crazy names. We kind of said,
just wrote shit up.
We kind of thought, I think that sounds pretty cool. I mean, Abaddon came out of the Bible, but some of the other, the other stuff was just like, I think this sounds cool, and I want to be called this. And say, that fucking sounds great. Yeah, why not?
On the early records, right? On the early records, was Kronos writing a lot of that, or was that the two of you doing all of that stuff?
Kronos writing it up. Kronos was writing.
Not a damn thing, did he?
No.
That's what I was.
He had a couple of I mean, there was a couple of contributions there, but no, you fucking the bulk of it, 80-90% of it.
That's what
leading up to fucking At War with Satan, where I got a bit fucking disillusioned with the whole thing. But no, I was taking the fucking riffs in and the fucking finished songs. I'm a bit of a, when it comes down to songwriting, I mean, I'm a bit of a lone wolf. I'll go into my studio room, shut the door, and I'll just write and write and write and write and write and write and write. But with him, nah, there wasn't any massive contributions on the song in the early days. Definitely not. No.
I remember getting sent home from school with In League with Satan, having that at school with
That's
me.
nice of your teacher to give you that.
Oh, it was my uncle's, and I had it there at school, and I remember, ever since then it was just like, that's one of my bands, so it's like, and it's you keep that, you get older, that's the stuff that matters, and it changed me. That's why I wasn't interested in listening to a lot of other stuff.
See, I was the same as Jeff. I used to listen to stuff like Sweet and Slade and things like that growing up. Slade were a fucking great band, English band. And then I went fucking babysitting, and my uncle had these stack of records, and he was like, "I'll just play what you want," and I saw this thing with these fucking naked people on a fucking bed with 666 carved in the back, and I was like, "The fuck is that?" That was pretty Sabbath, And you're just like, as a kid, you're like, fucking hell, this is fucking insane. So I get where people saw what we were doing and picked it up and got the same response.
Right.
I don't think we set out really to get that response. We did set out to be blasphemous and to be a bit naughty,
Sure.
That was deliberate, but and obviously the artwork. But it just came about kind of naturally, and it's the same with the sound. When we started playing like this stuff, it just sounds like we're in a rehearsal room in fucking 1980 odd, It sounds a bit better because he's good with a mixer, but
it's so. I can't tell you enough just how iconic I think those records are. I mean, seriously, nothing sounds like that. I think they're the blueprint for a lot of stuff. The American thrash movement, the death metal movement, and that black metal stuff. I mean, you can't get any more blatant than taking your album title and running with their scene with it. I mean, everything, the music, just how important it is to everything I listen to.
I mean, basically, what you've said there is those bands have taken what we did and ran with it.
Yeah.
The same as we did with Motorhead, Priest, Sabbath.
Yeah, absolutely. The ones from Kiss, the fucking over the topness of Motorhead, growling fucking bass and the throaty vocals. That's awesome. It was never, I want to be Lemmy, but it was like, that was fucking right there in your face. We used to have a couple of good venues in Newcastle that you could get to really easily. And you'd see fucking Motorhead one day, you'd see Priest the next, Whitesnake the next, fucking Rush the next.
That's awesome.
And you'd fucking, and it was like 2-3 quid, it was nothing. It was under $5, and it was like, you could be there 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week. And you could see Priest and Lizzie, and you'd just keep coming around every year. You'd see bands 2 or 3 times, and it was really easy to grow up and be sort of overthrown and sort of overwhelmed with that, the scene in the pubs. Every look up where Newcastle is, it's on a river, north and south of the river, or little small communities. But each community had 4 or 5 pubs that were just about heavy metal. Right. And you just went there and you fucking just, and you would swap stories. Have you heard this band? And, what if you like Rush? Have you heard the Gods? Right. Fucking Triumph, all this kind of shit, and all that American wave is just hitting you in the face, and all the fucking European stuff's going back that way. It's fucking great, man.
Well, it bothers me when. It's just I don't think it's mentioned enough how important what the two of you did. To me, it's iconic. It really, I'm about to shit myself just sitting here, not literally, but just I mean, really, I know. I grew up listening to this stuff, and it's. I think those records are so important, and I absolutely. But I mean, it's seriously, it's. If I could have told myself when I was 6 or 7, then I'm going to get to, So it's crazy, but do you consider yourself? Because I always consider, because I've heard people say, "Oh, well, the Venom stuff that was new wave of British heavy metal." Do you consider yourself part of that, or do you consider yourself your own thing?
I think we're the own thing.
That's how I did.
We felt apart from the. That's how the whole sort of black metal thing came around. It was like, it was at a time when you know, everybody who had long hair and a guitar was a heavy metal band.
Right.
You know, and we're sitting doing an interview, and I think there's an early copy of Kerrang was lying on the table, and I think it was Bon Jovi was on the front, and there was this question came up about metal or whatever it was, and we turned to the interviewer and says, well, if that's what you consider heavy metal, we've got fuck all to do with that. Nothing to do. We didn't feel a part of the new wave of British heavy metal or anything, although we were thrown into it. We didn't feel a part of it. So press being press, you know, they've got to label you, they've got to put you in a little box somewhere, you know.
Exactly.
And it's like, so what are you? And it's like, black metal.
Thrash
that was
death
it.
metal, speed metal.
If you look on the back of one of the albums, there was a thing called Power Metal Publishing, which was our publishing thing, you know.
Right.
Years later, what do you get? You get Power Metal. You know, and then all the whole, like he says, you know, the whole fucking death metal, thrash metal, this
But
metal,
guys,
that
the guys
metal.
sitting there, you say, wait, what was that? We're like, we didn't come out with any genres. I didn't know what a fucking genre was. I still don't.
Yeah.
But the fucking just the enthusiasm and the fucking, we're not, you know, if Bon Jovi's heavy metal, if that's what you could, that's the Bible, right? That's this week's edition of the Bible according to heavy metal. That's Bon Jovi. So no, we're not that.
Right,
Nothing
exactly,
like that.
right.
A week later, they had fucking Chris Rea on the front. Somebody once told me that the least selling copy at that time of Kerrang was when they put Pantera on the front.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, fucking figure that.
Yeah, and that, you know, they get labeled into all this stuff. To me, they were the saviors during all that grunge shit. I hated all that shit.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah.
And man, they flew that flag and they didn't give
Two
a
things
fuck.
happened in the 90s which brought metal back to the fore. One was black metal, the genre, of course, the Scandinavian, the other one was Pantera.
Right.
Neither of those two things happened. They would still be.
No, and they were completely not politically correct. And
No, exactly.
They're in your
That
face.
saved-
They
that
kept
saved it. Yeah.
Phil's actually been a big supporter of our podcast. He's
Yeah.
gave us a lot of really good press.
Very
which is
cool guy. And
They saved it. They saved it. The two things together.
Well, they
The
saved-
anomaly being is that black metal is a genre. When you hear black metal bands go Venom or fucking black metal, and you hear black metal bands go Venom or black metal, in its purest form, Venom is the only black metal band on the planet
Yeah.
because they called themselves black metal.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't call themselves a genre. They call themselves black metal to establish that was how they saw themselves.
that you weren't Bon Jovi.
That it wasn't anything else but them. And so to label a genre later and go, well, you're not black metal because you don't sound like all of these other bands,
Right.
but they're not black metal.
Well, we headlined a festival in Europe, a big festival called Dynamo Festival.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
In Malmo.
Sure.
About 100,000 people. We headlined on a Saturday night in '96. In '97, I went there as well, and I saw Cradle of Filth and go on in the afternoon. And Danny went on, a British band. Danny went on and said it's great to see a British black metal band on the Dynamo stage eventually. And I'm like, so we didn't do that last year then? And we didn't close the whole fucking thing and just wipe the fucking place out. All right,
You know, the stupidest thing I've ever seen in the press was an article about Black Sabbath, and it said it opened this article with veteran black metal band Black Sabbath, and then gave the news about it. That was the.
Are you kidding me?
That was the opening quote. Veteran black metal band Black Sabbath.
See, my exposure as a kid to Black Sabbath was, I heard the Dio stuff first.
right, okay.
And my uncle loved Dio, and he loved Venom, and he loved Motorhead, and that was it. And old AC/DC, and that's it. And that's what he listened to, and that's what I grew up on. So all my friends made fun of me for liking Ronnie, but again, it was the occult stuff. And that's actually what I kind of want to ask you guys about. The sacrilege, I loved it. As a kid, I was scared to death of it, but I was like, this is fucking awesome. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
We just set out to stuff it in people's faces and say, you know, if they ran away screaming, great. We didn't give a shit.
It's because when you're a kid, you want to rail against, you know, what your parents did or whatever. You know. But I mean, a lot of parents grew up and they play fucking Elvis.
Yeah.
When you're growing up, and this kind of thing, you know. And I mean, my brother used to play the Rolling Stones to me, and I instantly learned that my hatred of the Beatles came because he loved the fucking Rolling Stones, because apparently that was the thing then. Which do you like? You had to like one or the other.
Yeah.
And my brother was just all about the Stones, so of course I was, you know. And people talk about the Beatles in this huge fucking way, and I've never understood it. Never will. So it gets ingrained in you, you know.
I mean, I would sit down with, like, and Lee would say, and I just, man, I love that. You know, it's like, Countess Bathory of black metal. I mean, just all those songs, and it just, everything about it. In fact, I don't know, I just, where you came up with some of that stuff, it was fucking amazing. It really is, and
Have you heard the tale of writing black metal?
Yes.
You've heard the tale?
No.
How I wrote the riffs?
No, not about that. No.
No?
No.
Right, so yeah, I've told it a few times now. You know when you get up in the morning, have a coffee, cigarette, and you go to the toilet to do your business? Some people take a magazine in. I took a guitar in one day. Black metal was born.
That's awesome.
That's the true story.
That's awesome.
I've had so many people say, fucking hell, that song, how did you come up with that song? Expecting I was fucking sacrificing virgins and fucking doing it at midnight and all this kind of crap. I was just taking a shit. I was just taking a shit. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Kept it. Went to my dad's cassette recorder, pressed play and record. Right. That was it.
Wow.
And just fucking... that's how the song came about.
It's classic stuff. I mean, it's all of it. I mean, just everything that you all would come up with. I could never get enough of it. Every record.
Who's he remind you of? Fucking John Parry.
It is.
It's John Parry.
Yeah.
Biggest Venom fan in the entire world was in Switzerland. John is like, fucking forget it. Covered in Venom tattoos, absolutely covered. Your mannerisms, the way you look, your hair.
This guy, his house, his whole house is a Venom museum. Wow, his whole house. His wife loves Venom, his daughter loves Venom, he loves Venom.
That's great. Awesome.
But honestly, his house is like a shrine.
Hit us up on Facebook and we'll hook you up.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's fucking great.
The last time I spoke to him about his collection, it was a good few years ago. I mean, we're still in contact with him, but... And at that point, he had 69 different versions of black metal. It's like, and everything's in storage and boxes and stuff like that. But like his house, he showed me photographs of his house, and I mean, living room, dining room, kitchen, shit, fucking everything. It's just Venom everywhere.
That's awesome.
Whole house. It's incredible. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, this has been, I just can't believe we got to sit here and talk to you guys. I'm a huge fan. I have been since I was 7 years old, so it's an honor to just sit here and talk with you.
You know, the thing is, you know, we get that so many times, but the truth of the matter is, if it wasn't for people like yourself, if it wasn't for the fans and their support, we wouldn't exist. You know, you can open a department store tomorrow. If nobody goes into that store, it closes.
Sure.
It's as simple as that. The fans are the most important part of the music industry.
Definitely.
They're the lifeblood, they're the oxygen, and they're the engine of the music industry. And without them, none of these fucking bands, nobody would exist. You know, if everybody tomorrow decided, that's it, I'm never buying music again, I'm never downloading anything, I'm never going to a show, I'm not going to buy a magazine, the whole industry's fucked.
Yeah.
You know, record labels, magazines, promoters, agents, fucking clubs like this, the whole thing. You know, nobody goes to that club. It's not the bands. You know, I've had so many club owners come up to me and say, "It's an absolute honour to have you here playing." And I'm like, no. It's a privilege for us to be able to set foot on any stage in the world and present our music to the people who love it. You know, because without them, we're fucked.
Right.
You know. So,
well, I think without your all's contribution to metal, there's a lot of stuff I listened to that would have never came out.
that's
because to me, you all were so extreme in that scene, you know. Because I never saw you all. I wanted to ask, what you thought. It's your band, but I never saw you all as part of the Maiden and Motorhead scene and everything. You were your own thing, and that's what I liked about it. And I think that's where a lot of people were borrowing and
they're inspired too.
But I don't know. I can't say enough good stuff about it.
No, like I say, I think the bands that sort of followed us, they did exactly the same as what we did. You know, they picked up the ball and they ran with it, the same as we did. You know, when it was like Motorhead and Priest. I mean, my life changed in 1979 when I seen Priest.
Oh yeah,
That was it. It was just like, that's what I want to do. I was always into guitar-driven stuff. I grew up through the 70s, through the glam rock era. And as Tony mentioned, I mean, Slade were my favourite band. T-Rex, Sweet, and then I bought Seven Seas of Rye by Queen, the single.
Oh, awesome.
And then discovered Kiss. And then it was myself and this guy I was talking about, Dave. We used to go to a lot of concerts. We just anybody, you know, he'd call me up and say, I've got tickets for this, I've got tickets for that. My first concert was 77. It was Blue Oyster Cult.
Awesome.
And I mean, we went to see anybody. I was lucky enough to see Rory Gallagher. You know, I've seen AC/DC with Bon Scott.
Oh, that's good stuff.
You know, and we just used to go and see anybody we could. And like I say, in Newcastle at the time, you could go to the Newcastle City Hall on a Friday night and see a band, and then you could go to the Mayfair on a Saturday night and see a band. I seen Priest at the Mayfair, at the Newcastle City Hall on Friday night, and then the second show that they did was Saturday night at the Mayfair with the original lineup of Iron Maiden support.
Wow.
You know, so we've seen so many people there. You know, Wasp did their first English date.
That early stuff's awesome.
You know, it's like Twisted Sister did one of their first English dates at the Mayfair. You know, so we've seen a lot of bands there. You know, Bon Jovi even played the Mayfair. Did this fucking club date. You know, it was like everybody went there. Everybody went. So you know, that's what inspired us at the end of the day. So, but yeah, for me, it was definitely, you know, just going to see all these bands, and there was anybody that had a guitar in the band, I would go and see them.
Right.
But it was that night. I can still remember it was Thursday, May the 28th.
Wow.
And the thing that did it for me, I was sitting in the audience, and stage left as I was looking, this guitarist ran on, and I just went, that's what I want to do, was kick it out.
That's his favorite.
It's my favorite.
I went to
That was
a
it.
museum in York, and they had these beautiful trains, and I wanted to be a train driver, but I got stuck with this shit.
You're on the Venom train now.
Yeah.
You guys mind?
Hi, this is Mantas from Venom Inc, and you are listening to the Phantasm podcast. Keep it heavy, my friends.
Awesome.
Hi, this is Abaddon from the band Venom Inc. You're listening to the Phantasm
Take two.
podcast.
That's half the show gone.
Hi, this is Abaddon from the band Venom Inc. and you're listening to the Phantasm
Take three.
I don't want to say project.
Podcast.
Project.
This is why his acting career never took off.
Hi, this is Sylvester Stallone. No, it's not.
Take four. This could take a while.
Hi, this is Abaddon from the band Venom Inc. You're listening to the Phantasm Project. Fucking fuck.
Take five.
We'll just change our name to Phantasm.
Yeah, just change your fucking name.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Abaddon from Venom Inc. You're listening to the Phantasm podcast. Keep it real.